OxFit Podcast, episode 26. We're here with our good friend Charlotte. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is your third podcast, apparently. First one with video, which I didn't tell you about, and I'm sorry for that.
That's okay. It would not have changed much.
Well,
I come as I am.
there you go. All right, so Charlotte, how long have you been a member of OxFit?
My husband Luke and I joined last January, so just a little over a year.
Okay, cool. Just gonna go.
Yeah.
There you go. Awesome. Yeah, so a little over a year ago, you guys came, and some people might know you here at Grant Park, and then I know we probably have some folks at EAV that don't, but since joining, you've now transitioned into being one of our interns, soon to be coach, and also doing some super fun stuff with Sunday service. So why don't you just tell people a little bit about who you are, what you do, why you're working out here, what you love to do, what your passion is, all that good stuff.
Yeah, of course. So my fitness background as a kid and teenager was I was basically sedentary and like a couch potato and was really unathletic and thought that because I was bad at sports that I just was not an athlete, and kind of stumbled into yoga in the early 2010s and then decided to do a teacher training. So I got certified to teach yoga in 2012 and really never looked back. And it was all the fitness that I did for 7 years. Okay. And I thought that that was kind of the definition of health and wellness for me. But I started having these injuries. I started having some back problems and some tendinitis and realized that all this stretching and mobility without the stability behind it was kind of an issue. So I found a functional fitness gym. My friend had opened one, and I started weaving resistance training into my routine. So did both yoga and functional fitness. And then he asked if I wanted to also coach that. And I like to say yes to stuff. So I said yes, did level 1 CrossFit certification, and became the very rare dual yoga training certified CrossFit coach. And then when that studio shut down, we were of course sad, but we were super excited to find OxFit. And so that's what brought us here. And so ever since, I've really tried to build this balance of continuing to work on strength, functional fitness, and work on things like mobility, flexibility, range of motion, health of muscles.
That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like people have this idea that like functional fitness, CrossFit, weightlifting, barbells is like so aggressive and harsh and like like injury prone and all this stuff, which I mean maybe in some cases is true, and then like yoga is on the complete other end of the spectrum, but it is really cool to see people find that balance. And it reminds me of a conversation I had with Cash. He was on the podcast a few episodes ago, and we were kind of talking about the same thing, but in terms of people who are really passionate about like endurance exercise, so like running, cycling, triathlons, and then the people that are most successful at it or find the longevity in that sport are people that learn how to employ resistance training in their training for, you know, these other things that they love to do. So yeah, going back to what you said about, it sounded like you were overdoing it with the mobility and flexibility. So what led you to think that?
Yeah, so I honestly came to yoga because I didn't feel very strong, but I felt quite flexible. And it turns out what I had was some issues with hypermobility. And I thought, you know, when you first start doing yoga, if you can get really deep into a pose, you must be doing it right. So deeper is more right, and deeper is better. And it turns out there's a phrase I learned kind of after a more advanced teacher training called sinking into your joints. And so if you are in a pose where you're sinking into your joints and only working the mobility without the muscle stability behind it, you can actually do a lot of wear and tear, specifically to like your joints, your tendons, your ligaments that need the muscle strength and stability instead of just overstretching, kind of overcommitting, and a little bit of ego, not gonna lie, woven into the poses too. So yeah, I mean, basically where I'm hypermobile was where I started to feel pain pretty chronically. And basically through doing resistance training was able to kind of back cycle a lot of that, and I don't have wrist tendonitis anymore. I don't have problems with my low back anymore. And I think it's a testament to continuing to work on that stability and strength side along with, building nice long and open muscles and range of motion.
Yeah. So do you think there's a lot of people in the like yoga, and I'm going to lump Pilates into that, which might be a stretch, but
yeah, it's fine. I get it, a stretch.
Oh, there you go. But like burnout of those sports because people faced a similar situation and just kind of stopped there. So would you say that like, joining a gym where you're focusing on resistance training and strengthening those muscles can bring people back to doing yoga if they found that they maybe can't anymore because of an injury or something like that?
Yeah, and I think everything's about balance, right? And so if you just go all in on anything, kind of like what you were talking about with cash and endurance work, if you just go all in on one side of the spectrum or the other, your body's going to want homeostasis. It's going to want more of that balance and that relationship of things. We are not just one thing, right? So we can't just be mobile. We need to also be strong. We can't just be strong. We need to also be mobile. So you just kind of got to have both. And I think, yeah, totally. If you are in a yoga or Pilates or any sort of more mobility focused type of training and you find yourself overdoing that, yes, you can do strength work and get back to doing what you really love and getting, more open, but also continuing to work on the strength piece too.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm so glad that we've been able to lean on you and build that relationship with you, helping our athletes with mobility, but also other people that have, that work out at the gym that do have yoga backgrounds. They've been great resources too. Yeah, I've loved seeing our athletes benefit from the Sunday services we've done. I think you've done two so far, right?
I think three.
Three?
Honestly, I'm not sure.
Okay, we've done a few.
A couple.
We've done a few Sunday service sessions. So if you guys don't know what that is, we've aiming for twice a month. We do a nice casual hour of mobility and recovery at EAV, led by you. And this month it's been really focused on some shoulder mobility, some front rack mobility, and then also some mobility down in the bottom of that squat. Is there one issue you see more than others in our gym population or just like functional fitness population in general? Something that you think everyone should like take a look at and just think about their mobility?
Kind of all of it. And honestly, OxFit is not unique in the problems that they have. There's a lot of people who are really muscle bound in front rack position. And there's a lot of people who are limited in the range of motion at the bottom of their squats. And they're quarter and third squatting and thinking that that's full range of motion. And maybe it is for them that day, but if they don't work on that, then they're really never going to see the growth that they could if they really work on getting full depth in their squats. But front rack is huge. I mean, think about how many positions have front rack in them. And if you can't catch a clean fast and get your elbows underneath, you could be really muscle bound to the point where you're holding back gains, as the CrossFitters say, your gains could suffer, all because of something that's not purely, but mostly mobility.
Yeah. And I hear a lot of people when I'm trying to like triage certain things in class, like my wrist flexibility, my wrist. And I was like, I don't think it's your wrist. I think it's your lats, and I think it's your triceps, and I think it's all these muscles that we're like not stretching out. So yeah, getting people to understand that like the answer is not, I just have really tight wrists or I can't get down there. It's like, no, we can. We just need to start working on that and practicing.
Yeah. And what you're mentioning too is a symptom probably of a root cause. And in yoga, I led a few trainings and would talk about working from the center in and the ground up. And so that's kind of what I try to do in my own body and try to do if I'm, helping someone out with a mobility issue is, if you're talking wrists, that's one of the furthest out points of your body, and that might be a symptom. You might have tight wrists, but it might really be radiating from tightness or a lack of stability in your thoracic spine. So like really getting nitty gritty about where things are coming from and where they might be radiating to, so you can treat all of that instead of just like one symptom and then think one and done. Cool, I did a wrist stretch. Next.
Right.
It's not that simple.
Yeah, and that's what I want our members and even the coaches too to get from you is like, your coaches don't have an answer. It's like, well, I'm stuck here. Why can't I get my elbows up in the front rack? There's not a trick. No. It's going to take practice, and it's going to take, doing mobility and recovering after workouts. And so that's why I think it's awesome that we're trying to get the Sunday services more frequent because, obviously we can't fix everything during that 1 hour. But what I really liked is the last time you did a portion of the event where it was led by you and we, everyone went through kind of the same stretches, and then you had, I think what you called like office hours afterwards. So you were able to help people with like their individual problems and give them some homework, if you will. So yeah, in order to correct like common things like the immobility in the front rack position or trouble squatting, like that's going to be a daily dedication, correct? Like something people are going to have to try and fit into their everyday routine.
Yeah, it at least needs consistency. If it's not daily, I always hesitate to say daily because then if someone misses one random Tuesday, then they throw the whole towel in. So think about it more like you need to be doing a little bit of something several times a week, and that you can start small. You don't. We have this idea like, well, if I can't dedicate 45 minutes, then I might as well do nothing. And I think that's really to our detriment. You can sit in front of your TV and watch Netflix and foam roll your lats. You can take 5 minutes here and there. You can take 2 minutes here and there, and you will see a difference. But you're totally right. It is. I talk about the teach a man to fish mentality, and people come to me, hey, I want to get better in front rack position, and they want me in 45 minutes to fix that. And I'm like, you got to give yourself a good several weeks to maybe even a few months to really see that progress. But it will be worth it, and it will last too, which is super beneficial.
Yeah. I think it's so cool because I think this conversation really ties into the book Aunt and I are reading, and we talked about it in our last podcast. So if you haven't listened to that episode, you should. Reading Atomic Habits and how to habit stack. And, as humans, we don't like delayed satisfaction. So, doing mobility for 5 minutes every night is probably not going to give you an immediate reward, but in 2 months, it definitely will, but we can't see that. So one strategy I know Caitlin at EAV is doing is she has an audiobook that she is really into, but she made a rule for herself that she can't listen to it unless she's doing mobility. So that's made her making sure she's doing, however long she does every night because she wants to listen to that book. But yeah, people could do that with their favorite TV show, or if they're trying not to be on social media as much, maybe the only time you can scroll social media is when you're on the floor doing some stretching or something like that. So yeah, those are all ideas for people to work through. I know I need to be better about it. I've tried to start dedicating like the 30-minute chunk before I train in the afternoon to just literally walking out of my office and just walking into the gym and trying to find some way to mobilize.
Yeah, and there are some shorter term benefits that can kind of keep you going through it too. Like it feels good to foam roll. It feels good to stretch. And so I think if people treat it like it's a punishment or an obligation, they're kind of setting themselves up to fail.
Right.
This is like You gotta get the kid to love vegetables instead of just forcing it down them.
Right.
So finding the little bits of enjoyment and then noting the little bits of progress too, because
Yeah.
some progress will come on the sooner side. And so if you're super impatient, just
Yeah.
give it a week instead of a few months, you'll see a difference. But it's more about the as soon as you see progress, if you stop doing it, that progress is going to decrease, kind of thing. Like, it's more about, as you say, building it into a habit instead of just something that's one and done.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, it's definitely not that I don't enjoy it, but I'm very much the person that's like, I'll warm up in round one. Like, I don't need to.
For sure.
I mean, I know I need to, but like, I don't want to do that. I'll just warm up the first 5 minutes of the workout. So, and other people are like, I would rather do mobility for an hour than work out. So, it depends on who you are, depends on what you like. It'll be easier for some people than others. But yeah, I think it's something we definitely all need. And I think you and I are really excited to keep working together to find a way to bring OxFit Mobility to everyone more than just a couple times a month for a Sunday service. Make it, more of an integral part of our programming and how it relates to stuff we're doing in a cycle.
Yeah, especially if people are like, I don't know what to do. Come to me. I can help you. Because I do think, and people get really lost. And if you just Google stuff, you could be doing something real wrong.
Yeah.
So making sure that you are diagnosing what's going on well and then doing what is actually going to fix it. Like, the big thing I hear is, I have tight hips. And I'm always like, well, what does that mean? Are your hamstrings tight? Is this like IT band? Is it internal rotation? Like, you got to get specific. Otherwise, you're going to look up what's a hip stretch, and you might be stretching overstretched hamstrings and just setting yourself up to not really get into what you need. So, yeah, a lot of it, too, is like listening to your body and figuring out how to move well and move better.
Yeah. I think that's a great point of, going to someone who knows what they're talking about, because, it's so hard to know what the issue actually is. Yeah, so many people have been like, my hamstring is like, actually, it's your quad. And just like you said, stretching the complete wrong thing and probably making it worse. And just not waiting for it to get like really bad. Like, it's okay to go see a physical therapist or whoever you want to go see to figure out what the root cause is, and then, have some better direction when they do come to see you to get some advice.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think learning the difference between something like discomfort and something like pain. Because at the gym, it's important to push through discomfort. I think we're not here to get comfortable, right? That's part of how you grow. That's part of how you get stronger. But pushing past pain, I think, is sending the wrong message. And it's part of what gives things like functional fitness a not great name sometimes. And it's not because the movements themselves are bad. It's because I think the language around it of, oh yeah, push past it. Like, pushing past ripping a callus is different than pushing past like, oh, I blew out my knee. So we gotta know, we gotta pay attention to our bodies, and we have to honor the fact that, like, you only got one, so you want to take care of it. So it's super important to note those things, and I think especially when people first start, they have a difficult time kind of parsing that information out.
Definitely. Yeah, and I think as coaches too, like, I know for me, I do tend to like tread lightly if someone's like, this is hurting or whatever, because I don't want people to like think of OxFit as this place where like, oh, so-and-so just told me to keep on deadlifting even though like I said it was hurting. So yeah, I tend to tread lightly in those situations. You're like, where does it hurt? Okay, let's switch up the movement. Let's do this. Like, let's just completely avoid that muscle group and like change up the workout a little bit, which is good. But yeah, but helping people navigate, like, is this actually, am I hurt or am I just hurting because it's a hard workout?
Yeah, what's going on, right? Or are you just tired? Do you have
Yeah.
a headache? Like, there are things that are fine to, dig deeper and push past. And then there are things where it's like, these are our body's only signs to tell us, like, please stop, please slow down. But a lot of people don't know the difference. They really don't. And especially new people will say, oh, this hurts. Oh, my glutes hurt. And it's like, I think you've just never worked that muscle group before. I don't know if you know what soreness is, And so getting mighty clear on what's going on, I think, is super important.
For sure. Yeah. Well, I'm super excited to see where we can take the OxFit Mobility program and where we can take Sunday service and how we can help people.
Yeah.
I'm super excited to see the direction that like 2024 is going, and just like everyone that we have on the team, all the coaches that are here, and how we can really benefit our athletes, but we need people to take advantage of it too. So yeah,
it's about a balanced approach too. So if you can just commit to Sunday service and you're not the best at sitting and foam rolling while you do Netflix, like, that still is better than zero. So give yourself the benefit of the doubt. It's hard.
Yeah.
So do what you can. Come see me. It's been real fun too. It's been fun to meet some East Atlanta people. So you guys are great.
Yeah, we're going to keep posting like your, more frequently the mobility tips on our social media. So if you're on there, make sure you take a peek at those. The one we just posted was probably more applicable to like before or after a workout when you have a band in the rig. But yeah, usually it'll be something that you could, for the most part, do anywhere. So yeah, make sure you check those out. You can do them at home.
Yeah, I'll try and weave in some that I think will work really well at the gym, and then some that you can just do literally anywhere.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
So what else? What else is new?
What else is new? We got a new puppy.
How's your puppy?
She's okay.
Charlotte's puppy pees a lot.
Yeah, she has a CT scan tomorrow.
Oh.
And if you ever want to know how much a puppy CT scan is, just ask me, and you'll be very sad for us. But we're diagnosing. She's a family member, so we got to take care of her. But
what a cutie.
She's super cute. She's very sweet, which is why we're keeping her around, even though she's the most expensive rescue we've ever gotten.
It's all right. It'd be like that sometime.
Yeah, it do be like that. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah, don't miss our next Sunday service. Check out the content we're going to be putting out with Charlotte, and then everything that's coming up with our OxFit Mobility program. And if they want to work out with you, they can find you at 4:30 or 5:30.
Or noon. Yeah, I just,
She's all over the place at Grant Park.
People on their toes. Yep.
And pretty soon, probably coaching some of the Grant Park classes in addition to Sunday service. So we've got some good stuff coming.
Yeah. If you have any mobility questions, see the girl with the pink hair.
There we go. All right. Episode 20, what did I say? 6?
I think so.
All right. Let's go.